thumbnail, we'll be learning how to draft and cut a alternate dress with the exaggerated hem. It has an exaggerated hem, so that's what we'll be drafting and cutting today. And for this tutorial, sorry, let me use my mic. I just remembered I need to connect my mic so that the video sound can be great. Okay, so let me quickly do that. Please like the video once you join so that more people can connect to this and learn something. Okay, so can you hear me? Am I audible? Good to hear. All right, so we're good to go. Just like every other tutorial, if you're drafting with your pattern, if you're drafting, you need to use your pattern paper, and if you're cutting on your fabric, that means you're doing freehand. But I would always advise that when you're cutting a style that you're not sure of or you've not done before, and like I said, you're not sure of, it is very important to use a pattern drafting paper. That way it saves you, you know, lots and lots of errors. It saves you all of that so that you don't make a mistake, and by the time you realize you have made any mistake, you can't recover the fabric because you cut directly on the fabric. Okay, so for this tutorial we'll be making use of my model here, and I'm yet to give her a name. This is the model, making use of our measurement, and what you need basically is you need the shoulder measurement, that's the shoulder. You need the bust point, which is from the shoulder to the bust point. You also need the under bust point, which is from the shoulder to the under bust. You need the waist point, which is from the shoulder to the waist. You also need the hip, from the shoulder to the hip point, and then the length of the dress. You also need the length of the dress. So I'm making use of this model for this tutorial, and I've gotten all the measurement. You need the round bust, round under bust is very important. I see some people when they measure their customer, they just measure the bust and the waist. It's important to get the round under bust. What it does is it helps the fit come out perfectly and unique. So you need the round under bust, the waist, the round hip, you need the apex, which is the nipple to nipple. The nipple to nipple, you need the apex as well. I've already talked about the shoulder. So this is basically what you need for the measurement. And now let's go on to draft on our pattern paper. So for the drafting, I'm making use of my marker, my French curve, that's my straight ruler, my curved ruler, um, my paper tape if necessary. So make use of that. Let's just dive into it so we don't waste much time. Okay, so I'll be using this my pattern paper, right, to draft both the front and the back. All right, so let us go. Let's go. All right, so the first thing I usually do is to, I hope this is visible. I hope you can all see. Hello, thank you for joining. Please like so that more people can connect to this video and learn something. Okay, so the first thing I usually do is to get my baseline. Even if you're cutting on your fabric, like if you're cutting directly on your fabric, it is very essential to get your baseline. It is very essential to get your baseline. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, and from this baseline I'm going to start getting all my points. And so I have my shoulder. I'm going to take my shoulder. The shoulder for my model is about 15 inches, and that is 8. If I divide by 2, that's 8. All right, so I'm going to note that, and then I'm going to bring that down here, which will serve as my chest line. Okay, So I'm going to bring that 8 down here from my baseline, which will serve as my chest line. Okay, then the next point I'm going to get is my shoulder to bust point. Shoulder to bust point for my model is 10 inches, and I'm just going to indicate that. Shoulder to under bust for my model is 13 and half, 13 and half, and I'm going to indicate that as well. Shoulder to the waist point for my model is about 18 inches. I'm also going to note that as well. Then now the next thing I want to get is the shoulder to the hip line, which is 28 inches for my model. I'm going to take note of that and put it down on my pattern paper, okay? That is it. And then now we're going to get the length of the gown, the length of the dress. The length of the dress for my model is about 33 inches, and I have here about 35 inches. I'm going to leave it like this as the length, and also the 2 inches extra that I have on my pattern paper would now be the hem allowance, or the hemming allowance, okay? So let me just put that there so that you see what is left, 33, and then the remaining would be for the hemming allowance. So I'm just going to, so yeah. So I've gotten all my points, right? The next thing I want to do is to connect. I'm going to connect using my marker and my straight ruler like so. I'm going to just connect all of this, okay? Connect all of this together. Take notes. I'm also going to save this video so you can watch after. I'm going to connect all of this together. Okay, so this serves as my shoulder. This is my shoulder. This is my bust point. This is my, so let me put it this way so you can understand what I'm writing. Okay, this is my shoulder, this is my bust point, this is my shoulder or chest line. Okay, shoulder or chest line. So let me just say, or chest line. This is shoulder brought down or chest line. My bust point, this is my under bust point. This is the waist point. This is the hip point. Okay, and then the length and the other remaining allowance would be for my hemming allowance. All right, so the next thing I want to do is from this, your chest line or your shoulder brought down, you're going to go and you take 8 inches, which is your shoulder divided by 2. So you're going to indicate that there, all right? And now you're using your straight ruler to connect to this place like this. All right, connect to this place like this. We want to get our armhole. Your shoulder slope 1 inch down from your baseline, and then on this part 3 inches for your neck width. Then you connect this way to get your shoulder slope. Okay, so on this part usually you get the midpoint from this place to this place, right? And then you go in by half. So that's basically what you need to do there. So but I'm just going to mark it, right? I don't need to do that. So I'm just going to assume that I've gotten my half and then I connect. All right, so the next thing you want to do is on your shoulder, trying to stop the fan from raising my paper, right? So on your shoulder, you're going to mark your bust, the bust measurement divided by 4. And my model's bust measurement is 34. So divided by 4 is about 8.5. I'm going to put that down here. So this is it, 8.5. Then on the underbust, I usually don't put the bust measurement on the bust point. I start it from the chest line. The underbust measurement for my model is 26, and that's about 6.5 when I divide by 4. So I'm going to indicate that also. And on my waist, this model has the same measurement as the underbust, 26 divided by 4, that's 6.5. Okay, the hip measurement for my model is 40. So 40 divided by 4. Let me be taking it this way so we can see what I'm marking. 40 divided by 4 is 10, and so I'm going to mark that there. Right now, the same thing that we have here is what we're going to take all the way to the length of the gown and our hemming allowance. Always remember to add 2 inches of hemming allowance. So on this point here, you will notice that the hip is exaggerated. Let me bring it up so closer. You will notice that the hip is exaggerated. It is not the exact hip measurement. So what I usually do is, it just depends on how exaggerated you want your hip. I usually used to add 2 inches extra for that exaggeration to be very pronounced. Okay, so I go from this, my hip circumference divided by 4, I add 2 inches extra for the exaggeration. All right, so this is what it is, 2 inches more. You can do 1, you can do 1.5, you can do 3. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is, using my curved ruler, I'm going to connect all these points together. Okay, connect all the points together, connect everything together all the way to my hip. So you can see now that the hip is exaggerated. Okay, so connect like that, and then using my straight ruler to just, you know, to just connect this. Okay, so this is what we have. This is what we have here. You can see how exaggerated the hip already is. All right, but this is not why we're here. We're here majorly for the halter neck. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to get our neck depth. We've gotten the neck width. We're going to get our neck depth, and that's depending on you. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the neck depth of 3 inches. And if you see the thumbnail, you will see that particular dress has like a collar. It's a high neck. Okay, it's a high neck. So I'm going to use 3 inches. Of course, we're going to use a loop of about 1.5 or 2 inches to connect all the way. All right, but for this, I'm using 3 inches, and it's advisable to use 3 inches. You don't want to use something lower or something too high, so that it doesn't choke the person. Okay, so it doesn't choke the person. 3 inches is perfect. The next thing we're going to do now, so like I said, I'm going to use this particular pattern paper for my front and back. So now let's assume that I want to start cutting my back. The back of this dress is off shoulder, while the front is the one with a neckline. The back does not have a shoulder or a neckline. The front doesn't have a shoulder, but it has a neckline. Okay, but the back doesn't have any shoulder. Like, it doesn't have this. It's just somewhere, the shoulder is off, or the yoke is off. Let me put it that way. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to work with this. So usually I'm just going to work with this, right? So it's like taking this shoulder off. So this is what the back looks like. This is what the back looks like. Okay, so if you want to cut on yours, ensure that before cutting out whatever you need, you have gotten your back. So let's say we're doing the back now. I'm going to put it as dots. I'll use a pencil so that I'll use a pencil, right? So that I don't show the lines. I wish I have another color of marker. Okay, so what you will do is, from the waist point, I'm getting my zip dart. So from the waist point, I go in by 1 inch, and then I connect like this for my zip dart. I connect this way, and also connect out to the hip line. Okay, this zip dart is very, very essential. You see, this zip dart is very essential. What it does is, it helps reduce bulging, zip bulging at the back. I'm sure many of us were aware of this. Okay, so this is basically what we do for the back. And then we are also going to indicate the darting. So the apex or nipple to nipple, to get my dart, I usually use the nipple to nipple, and I'm sure that's what every one of us will use. So the nipple to nipple is 7, and divided by 2 is 3.5. So I'm going to indicate that here. I'm going to indicate that here. Okay. I'm going to indicate that here. 3.5. So I'll continue with my marker now, because I'll still be making use of this nipple to nipple in front, for the front as well. So I'll just continue my marker. So I'll connect all the way like this, all the way like this, all the way like this to the hip. I'll connect all the way like this to the hip, and um I'll connect all the way like this to the hip line. Okay, so for the back, we're still working on the back. What you just do basically from the back is, from your waistline you're going to go out by half of an inch. You're going to go out by half and half, like this, from your waistline, and then from the under bust too, you can decide to go half and half, or you just connect this way. Let me use a pencil for this, please. So you just connect this way and then connect to the hip. All right, so that is your darting. So you replace it here half and then connect this way like this. Okay, so this is it for the back. Now let's continue with the front. Let's continue with the front. Now for the front, let me quickly clean this off so that it's not confusing anybody. All right, let me quickly clean this off so that I'm not confusing anybody. So for the front, we've gotten our apex, that's the nipple to nipple. You can choose to have a bustier for this, or you just have it that this is a princess dart, because for this particular style it goes this way. There is no there is no armhole. Let me go down. There is no armhole, and so because there is no armhole, you need to dart in this place so that it stays firm. One of the mistakes that a lot of people do is that when they just do this, they don't leave a dart here, and so it makes this place bulge out. You see it coming out like this. It's not relaxed. It's not relaxed. So that's what we want to work on. All right, so from the under bust, I'm going to go out. You can choose to have a bust here. For many people who don't like to wear bra, I usually advise that you have like an English cup added to this. Okay, so on the under bust, I'll explain what I did here. From the apex line, I moved in on the side piece by 1 inch. Remember, this is not a serious buster or anything. The princess cut, because we need to create a channel, we need to have this done here. Then on the other side, that's the center front, I went in by half of an inch using my curved ruler. I'm just going to connect this way. I'm just going to connect this way. This is not the okay. So let me make use of this one, because this gives me a better look when I curve with it. I'm going to connect this way to the bust point. Okay. So I'll connect this way to the bust point, and then on this side, I'm going to connect this way, all right, to the bust point. If you notice, I'm not getting to the exact bust point. I'm just stopping like maybe half of an inch below. Okay, that's a very good way to have your bust here. You don't need to get to the bust point. Now, from this side now, I need to create that armpit dart. It's called like an armpit dart or a princess dart this way now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, first of all, what I'll do is I'll get the midpoint from this line now, working with this line first. So I'll get the midpoint. The midpoint is 3.5. The midpoint is 3.5. Then on this curved armhole, I'm going to go curve my tape rule like this, and what I got at the bust area, that's where I measured my bust divided by 4. What I got there is 8. So I'm going to indicate that and get the midpoint, which is 4 inches. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to connect this. I want to connect this. Okay. I want to connect this. So I'm just going to connect like so. I'm just going to connect like so. Okay. So I'm just going to connect like this. So this serves as a princess cut. This is a princess cut. This serves as a princess cut. On this side, I'm going to go down by half of an inch. All right. And then bring this one in like this for that dart. Okay. For that dart. I hope you understand what. So this connects as the center front, and this for the side pieces. Okay, so this is what we'll have. Then the next thing we're going to do now, we want to get our outer neck. Let me bring this down so that you can see. So we want to get our outer neck. Next thing we're going to do is this way. You just place your ruler this way. You just place your curved ruler this way and connect it like this, and connect it this way, just this way. Now you have your outer neck. Then you can now have a loop somewhere around here that extends all the way. Do you get that one? You attach it later. So this is basically the outer neck. This is how you do it. So you cut out from here like this. Let's cut out together. So we understand. But before cutting out, please let's connect the underbust to the hip. Let's continue to connect our dart. Connect this way to the hip. And of course, do not forget to replace your dart. Don't forget to replace your dart. It is very essential. If you miss this part, even if you add your allowance, you will see that at the end of everything, you're unable to get any other allowance for joining, or it might be short. Okay, so we connect this way. You see that I still did not do anything. Usually, if there is a sleeve, I like to go out by 1 inch after the bust circumference divided by 4. I like to go out by 1 inch for ease at the armhole when you're fixing your sleeve. But when you don't have sleeve, you're doing a bust tube, like a tube dress or a tube top. If you're doing halter neck, any sleeveless outfit, ensure that you use the exact measurement, then just add the allowance, which you're obviously going to take out when you're sewing. All right. So on this part, you take note of what you have on the waist, what you took out, 1 inch, indicate that, connect it, connect it like so, and then using your curved ruler, you want to connect all the way to your hip. Now, the interesting part of this dress is, let me go up on the length. I usually used to do this, right? That's one interesting part of this, right? I don't leave it straight like this. I go up from the length. I go up by 1 inch or 1.5, and then using my curved ruler, I just connect like this. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I just connect like this back. Okay, giving it that, like a basque effect. I don't know if you can see what I did, like a basque effect. Okay, so this is basically what you need to achieve that particular style. And the next thing you're going to do is cut out and place on fabric. So I'm cutting out now. Get my scissors quickly. Cutting out now. Okay, sorry, I didn't extend this down. I need to extend this 3.5. Yeah, that's the center front, right? So I'm cutting out. Let's cut out together. So when you're adding your allowance, you're going to add half of an inch, right? You're going to add half of an inch. So this way goes like this. Remember, we're no longer working with the armhole or shoulder. All right. So this is what it looks like. This is how it looks like. So we cut this out now. Take out our dart. Don't forget to replace your dart. It is very important. And the reason why we made it a bustier is because for some people who want a clean finishing, they want to have, they don't want like to always wear bra. Like if you don't want your client to have to wear bra so that the bra is not showing at the back, or those tacky look, it's good to have a bustier channel so that your client doesn't need to wear bra. You fix your cup there. You fix your cup there. So when you're cutting on your fabric, you add your allowance. You can add as much as 1 inch, half of an inch, or um, you can add as much as 1 inch, half of an inch, or 2 inches. Okay. So this is basically what we have. This is basically what we have. Connect it this way, and yeah, you have your halter neck. Like I said, for the back I've already shown you how to get the back. Okay. And that's basically what it is. Thank you very much. I hope you found this very, very impactful, knowledgeable, and informative. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate this. Is so with Oma, also known as Oma Ideal Luxury. Thank you for joining the live, and we'll see you in our next live. Okay. I always say, please let me know in the comment section what you would want me to make next or do a tutorial on next. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, like the videos, and yeah, so we see in our next video. Thank you very much, and God bless. Mwah. Bye bye.